Live from Birmingham, Alabama. James Spady is our next guest, continuing coverage of SWAC Media Day here in Birmingham at the Grand Marriott. James Spady, the new head coach at Alabama A&M. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the selection.
Thank you so much.
You, to me, have a added pressure. I mean, you're coming into a situation where it was a successful program. Last year, maybe not particularly so, but it has been a successful program. So it's not like you're starting from the bottom. So you've got some additional pressure on you to perform.
Well, that's part of the deal. You know, when you accept a head coaching job in the college ranks, there's always something that you have to live up to. I mean, the tradition is usually there, or there's a legacy that's already there, and you have to either maintain or advance that. And so we embrace that part of it. That's the exciting part of being a head football coach.
Just a few moments ago, I had a conversation with Dawson Odoms at Southern U, and he says, "Don't ask me who my starting quarterback is." You've said, "Ask me." I've already named that starting quarterback. Different philosophies also, I mean, obviously for different coaches, but you saw a plus in going ahead and naming starting quarterback.
Yeah, well, because we want to be able to target the things that he does well. If Jamison Lee can't perform a particular task, I'm not going to ask him to do it if that's not in his wheelhouse of ability. I'm not going to ask him to do that. So if you continually guess as to who that quarterback is, then I feel like you're going to have trouble tailoring your offense to fit your personnel. And that's what we're going to plan on doing, is tailoring our offense to fit our personnel. And the first place that you want to start with is your quarterback position.
Speaking of tailoring your offense, I think that's a perfect analogy or description of what you've done where your offense is concerned, because you've got a strength and conditioning coach that actually has trimmed down your offense, and it was for the purpose of speeding up the men on the offensive line. You look back at the stats a year ago, they were pretty good at keeping guys off the quarterback. Do you fear that when you make them faster, maybe they're not quite as able to protect that quarterback, or maybe are they more so?
Well, unless you're Alabama or Auburn or something, you really can't dictate. You're usually going to give up something. If I make them faster and quicker and more agile, I might have to give up some strength and some bulk. If I make them bigger and stronger, I might have to give up some agility. And so what we do on offense is we're going to need athletic offensive linemen that can move and block downfield and manipulate themselves at the line of scrimmage. I think that makes for a better pass protector, to be very honest with you. And so, there's some things that we need to be able to do with our big boys that will allow us to advance ourselves offensively. And Rashad Harris is our strength conditioning coach, and man, he is doing a great job right now. I am so pleased with him. And the way our kids look. They've changed their bodies from January till now. And I'm excited about that.
Now, I read where 300 pounds have been trimmed off the offensive line. Is that off 5 guys?
Yeah, well, the offensive line group has collectively trimmed over 300 pounds. And yeah, we're pleased with that. We're happy about that. Now, don't get me wrong. We've still got some bulk. We've still got some heavy guys. When you have more weight that you can lose.
True, good point. But what do we expect to see from your offense? What kind of offensive scheme? Alabama A&M in the past, I guess, is the closest thing to kind of a smash type approach. Do we see a variation from that in the new year? Yeah,
we'll see somewhat of a variation. I believe in running the football. Don't get me wrong, but we'll be a little more finesse than we've looked in the past. I'm cautious because that was not my offensive scheme, and I don't want to disparage that offensive scheme in any way. But I went to Nevada and I learned the pistol offense, and I learned the versatility that's involved in the pistol and the things that you can do. One game we may be smash mouth, and you might look at us and say, "Boy, that Spady guy doesn't know what he wants to do," because then the next week we turn around and throw for 500 yards. But the versatility of the offense is the reason why I believe in it so much, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to tailor what we do to our personnel. If they're not catching the ball, I'm not going to throw it. If we can't pass protect, I'm not going to throw it. So I think that what we can do offensively, structurally, will help our guys. No matter what their physical condition is, we'll be able to help our guys. At least that's the plan.
When you were in Nevada, you had Kaepernick there. Of course, he goes on to San Francisco. He's already had a tremendous career, despite the fact that he's only 2 or 3 years into that career. Is there a point where you, as a coach, though, begins to gauge all quarterback athleticism based on that outstanding quarterback that you've seen in the past?
To a certain extent, but I'm very cautious. Colin Kaepernick's a freak, and I say that with all compliment. He knows how I feel about him, but I say that with all due respect. No one can do what that guy does physically. There's no one on the planet who's 6'6", 250 pounds and runs like a 165-pound guy, and has a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And there's nobody on the planet like that. So I hesitate to compare our guys to Colin. That's just not fair. But what we look for is a quarterback who has all the quarterback abilities. Got to be able to read coverage, got to throw the ball, and then he's got to be able to manipulate the pocket. I want our quarterback to be a threat, not as a running back, not as a runner, but be a threat to run the ball so that you have to account for him on defense, and if you don't, then I can exploit you.
But once you run into that freak of nature, if you will, does it almost skew you in the recruiting process to where you're always looking, okay, he's not that guy. He's not the guy that can do the things this guy can do?
Well, that's what I'm trying not to do. When I run into that freak of nature, first of all, I want to get in his home as quickly as I can. But I don't want to ever say, well, he can't do what Colin did, so yeah, he's eliminated. Let's go on to the next guy. Don't ever want to do that, because he may have some attributes. Like, for instance, Jameson Lee is no Colin Kaepernick. He doesn't have the same abilities. But Jameson has some things that are very exciting for us, and they bode well for our offensive success going forward. At least I think that's the case. So, I don't want to eliminate him because he can't do what some guy does who shouldn't be able to do what he does.
We've talked about the offense. What about the defense? What do we look for?
Yeah, Reggie Johnson's our defensive coordinator. I don't know if you might be familiar with Reggie. He coached at UAB last year, the last few years with Garrett McGee. Before that, he was at Arkansas. He's been at Louisville. He's forgotten more defensive football than I'll ever know. But Reggie, I'm very confident in Reggie. He's a good friend of mine. We've worked together in the past, and I know his defensive philosophy. I told him, I said, I want one thing, and I want for our defense to mirror our offense in that I want you guys to run to the football. I want there to be gang tackling on every play. I want to play fast on defense. And he said, that's exactly what we do. And so I feel good about our options on defense. We're going to be able to line up and match up against people in spread formations. We're going to be able to bring extra bodies into the box when you tighten us down, and we're going to be able to run to the football and gang tackle, create turnovers, and intimidate people. That's what you do on defense.
Got to pose the same question to you that I have the other first-year coaches that we've conversed with today, and that is the expectations. What is the barometer for you in gauging success in your first year at Alabama A&M?
Well, quite obviously, my expectation for Alabama A&M is very different than others. We've been picked last. I don't know if you know that. We will use that as a little bit of a motivator. I think our football team, everybody wants to compete. And if you've been picked last, then you kind of can play with a chip on your shoulder, and that is okay. That is exactly what we want to do. But again, that's all part of the process, and that's what we're trying to get our football team to really understand, that the process. You can't show up on Saturday afternoon and play a football game if you haven't gone through the process. You can show up and play it, but you won't be very successful. And so. As a head football coach, my expectations are extremely high. As a first-time head coach in a conference that's somewhat unfamiliar, I still think they're extremely high. I plan to put our team in position to try and compete for a championship. Well, Coach, congratulations on being named the coach, and good luck in your pursuit of that SWAC title. Thank you so much. That was by the way, it was a great interview. You're really good. Oh, I appreciate it. James, we're going to keep him here a while now. But no, thank you very much, and we look forward to coming to Alabama A&M during the course of the season. James Spady, the new coach for the Bulldogs there at Alabama A&M. We've got more of SWAC Media Day from Birmingham right after the break.